Okay, so we're going to go over kind of what the Select program is, what the Select program is not, and go over some of the programming that we've got upcoming for this year. Some of it is going to stay the same from previous years for age groups, and then some of it's going to change a little bit. We're excited, though, that we're going to offer some new opportunities as well. And at the end, we'll open it up to questions for anybody that doesn't has any. Just to get us started, so our Select program is for our U11 to U19 age group. So U11 is the first year that we offer it. So for the 2024-2025 season, that's going to be players that were born in 2014 and older. So U11s, U12s, and then U13s and up. So our selection process, we select players for our Select program in a couple different ways. So one is we get recommendations from our coaches and our director of coaching. This is the main way that we get our selection process. So we aim to touch base with the coaches and the directors that are working with players on a day-to-day basis. We understand that sometimes when players come to a tryout, that players have good days, bad days, and that sometimes that's not really going to be a true barometer of the player's level. So yeah, we rely on our coaches and directors and use that to try to help select our teams. We also will use ID clinics for especially our younger age groups, and we're going to go over a little bit of that detail in a little bit. So obviously invite all of our players from our different locations. And then finally, we use our current Select team in some of their training sessions and invite players out in order to then evaluate them with the current players that we have in our Select program. Typically, we do this for our older age group teams because we have had a team at the Select level for maybe numerous years, and we have a pretty good idea of who our best players are. The goal of the program is to give our premier players an opportunity to play, compete, and showcase their ability at a higher level. So to give you a little bit of background, I used to be, before joining Chicago Rush, the director of Grove United. Michael was the director at Lincolnshire Lightning. And when we tried to merge the clubs because ultimately we weren't able to continually offer our players at those smaller clubs opportunities to play at the highest level. But we did find that we could offer a higher level if we combined the top players from each age group from across some of our different clubs, and therefore we kind of formed the Select program. So where are our players coming from? So we have currently 7 clubs, and then we have a new affiliate coming into our Chicago Rush network. So we have Chicago Rush North out of Lincolnshire, West out of Bartlett, South out of Minooka, Oswego, North Shore and Wilmette, Fox Valley, and we have a new affiliate coming on, Chicago Edge. That's a super exciting announcement that I think we were announcing for the first time here today. So Chicago Edge is out of Oak Park River Forest, has a variety of really, really good players. So we're excited to add new players into our program and to continue to push our program to a new level. We have not only our Chicago Rush Select, but we also have our Regional Select and National Select programs. And we're going to go a little bit into that program shortly. Okay, so the idea is you're always being scouted when you're at a Rush Select event. We want to keep pushing our players and giving them opportunities to go to the next level. So when you're playing with your premier team in North, Oswego, South, wherever it might be, we're looking to identify players to play for Select at the Chicago level. When you're playing for the Chicago Rush Select team, we're looking to see who's excelling and hopefully pushing them onto the regional level And then when you get to the regional level, hopefully you continue to do well and excel and make it to the national team for Rush Select. Here are some of our accomplishments, and some of the championships that we've won since becoming an organization. So I've done quite well at some of the state level and regional level tournaments. We've also managed to win 2 national championships at the President's Cup level, which was exciting. I had the privilege of being the coach of the 2004 boys team back in 2018, and that was a tremendous experience and something that I think that the players still remember to this day. I still keep in touch with a lot of those players, and I'm hoping that we can provide that for our next level of players coming through the program. Here's a slide that identifies or that highlights some of our players that participated in the regional event that took place in Port St. Lucie, Florida. So we had 14 players represent Chicago's Rush Select at the International Rush Cup. This was in November of this past year. You can see some of the highlights here. Our 2009 boys, Kiko and Max, their team won the tournament, which was tremendous. We had a couple of 2010 boys. You can see a picture of the resort here, which is all-inclusive resort, great facilities, great fields, and a really positive experience. I also coach for the program, and you can see in the bottom left corner a picture of the 2008 boys team that I coached, who were able to win the tournament as well. So great experience. And moving forward this year, it'll be November 13th through the 17th, and again, Port St. Lucie, Florida. After that event, so that's the regional event where Rush Select has the Midwest teams, the South teams, the Northeast teams, and the West teams. After that, 2 teams are selected for PDT, which is the National Select event taking place in Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, so 2 teams for each age group. This year we had 7 players represent Chicago Rush at that event, which was great. So you can see some of the pictures highlighted here with the 2007 boys team, which I was able to get a couple pictures from since I was the head coach for that. So it's not just about a playing opportunity in a tournament, but it's also about off the field bonding. The players stay in hotel rooms with their teammates. They do everything together as a team. So you can see here, we went for a hike. We went to a Phoenix Rising training session. And then our 2007 boys select team, the second team won the tournament, and the first team finished runners up. So we were extremely competitive in this tournament across multiple age groups. There's an in-action photo there of Sophie Augustine, who represented the 2011 girls team. So congratulations to those players, and hopefully we can get even more players representing our program next year. Okay, so one of the events that we're going to be doing hopefully this upcoming summer is going to be the Regional Rush Cup and Showcase, Midwest Rush Cup and Showcase, held in Elgin. So we're going to be hosting this event this year. So in the past couple of years, I think it was in Iowa and Wisconsin. This year we're going to be hosting the event, and it's going to be one of the main ways that you get scouted to be on these regional teams that we spoke of. So we will be entering our select teams at U14 and older age groups on the girls side, U14 on the boys side, and then if we're able to enter some high school boys teams, we will do that. We just don't want to conflict with what you've got going on with your high school season. So look forward to that, and more details to come in the future. Okay, so with that said, we'll now go a little bit into our select programming. One thing I do want to identify is one thing is select and Super Y are different. Okay, so I think there might be some confusion amongst parents and players. So these are 2 separate programs. The purpose of select is to showcase our players in events, tournaments, showcases, and give extra opportunities in as far as games go. The emphasis is not training for select. So we want to make that distinction. With all of our regular programming, with your local club, with some of the programming that we offer with Super Y, a little bit more of that emphasis is on regular training. With Select, we understand that we have a variety of different training opportunities, and we're bringing players in from various areas. So regular training is extremely difficult. Therefore, that's not the focus. We trust that our local coaches are doing a great job with their teams and with our players on a 2 to 3 week, 2 times to 3 times a week basis. So we're not going to bring our select teams together weekly in order to train. However, we will bring them together before each event to make sure that the players are familiar with each other and to just get them on the same page as far as some of the tactics go. Super Y, that is our summer program, and that is where our teams will compete in the Super Y League, train 2 times a week. That's separate from Select. So just want to clarify that. We will also aim to avoid any conflicts between Select and Super Y. So our Super Y coaches are going to be doing their best to avoid any of these select dates. So if you see some overlap between maybe some weekends with Select and Super Y, please know that we're going to be trying to work those out and making sure that we avoid conflicts. If we are able to, or if we are not able to avoid conflicts, then we will prorate one of the events to make sure that you're not paying for both events and you're only able to attend one. Okay, so with that being said, so this is for our U11 and our U12 boys teams. So U11 boys, first time participating in the program, and U12 boys, hopefully they're the second time, second year. So we're going to start everything off with a residential camp, and this year we're going to be moving it up from July 7th through the 9th. It's at Elmhurst University. So we put this on the select team snaps already about a couple weeks ago. So be hosting this at Elmhurst, brand new turf field there, excellent facilities, air-conditioned dorms. We're really looking forward to having the players on campus at Elmhurst. So check-in will be on Sunday, July 7th in the afternoon. We'll be doing a training session, have dinner, and players just getting used to and meeting their teams because this will be the first event that we have. July 8th will be a full day, full day curriculum where players have 2 training sessions, breakfast, lunch, and dinner included. We'll be doing various presentations. So last year we did a film analysis, we did a nutrition webinar, we did college recruitment for our older players, and then in the evening, everybody's favorite, we have the talent show. On the next day, the 9th, is when we'll have one last training session. Usually this is a scrimmage, and then we will finish with checkout around noon. So kind of a 3-day training camp environment where all the players are getting used to training with each other. The following weekend, July 12th through the 14th, we're going to be doing the Chicago Inter Showcase hosted in Lockport, Illinois. So great opportunity here to play at a little bit of a higher level, good tournament local to Chicago. Finally, the third event will be the LUFU's Junior Championships in St. Louis. This will be taking place November 8th through the 10th. And we'll have a little bit of training sessions beforehand. There's some additional programming that will be offered as well, and we're going to get into that in a little bit.
Probably that.
Not $340.
Okay, so girls, U11, U12, and U13 programming looks very similar. The only difference is it's going to be the St. Louis Scott Gallagher Fall Classic the first weekend in November, also in St. Louis. So, yep, same residential camp, same tournament. For our 2012 girls, that is the U13 age group, we are going to be looking to potentially make a team. We have not figured that out quite yet, but we'll be sending out more information over the coming weeks and after tryouts to see if we can make a team at this level. With adding Chicago Edge, we're hoping that we're able to make a team that is maybe in addition to the North Shore team that we have, who's a very strong team. So more details to come for that in coming months.
Can you please repeat that? So right now there's not a U12 girls team or or U13. Is that correct?
We currently do not have a U12 girls select team. We have an extremely strong A division U12 girls team at our North Shore club. And so currently they're the strongest team in our club. So to make a select team just didn't seem to make sense this past year. We're hoping that we have enough strong players that making a select team is worthwhile, and the players can compete at a high level. We'll make that determination after tryouts and once we figure out all the new players coming into the club.
What do you think? I mean, so what about the U12 girls that were on the previous select team that because there was no team this year, if you decide not to do a team next year, what would be some of the alternatives for them outside of Super Y?
Yeah, so we can give opportunities to train with the North Shore team. We can give opportunities to come together and make an extra tournament team, maybe not the full select programming. This is something that we can probably touch on, and I can give more details after tryouts once we have a better idea of kind of the talent of the group. The important thing for us is to make sure that we're offering beneficial programming for everybody, and they're not doing tournaments that are too high of a level, too low of a level. So after tryouts, we'll have a better idea of that.
Thank you.
On that, Tim, if I can just hop in real quick, because I'm going to piggyback off that question. I know, like last year, our daughter was nominated by her coach for select, and then there didn't end up being a 2010 team, I think, for some of the similar reasons, like the North Shore team played at that level. So are you saying, like, if that happens again this year, will there be opportunities for the other branches if there's girls that are ready for that level? Like, or will you guys touch on that later in the call?
Yeah, those questions are typically going to be best answered kind of on a one-to-one basis. So please feel free to reach out to me via email or shoot me a phone call. And typically this is going to be after tryouts when we have a better idea of the makeup of our teams. And we'll be happy to kind of talk about some additional opportunities and make sure that players are being challenged and have those opportunities.
Okay, and you have the same email, right? Because I just want to make sure, because we reached out this year and I don't know, I just want to make sure. Same contact?
Yep.
Okay.
Great. So moving on to our next age group, we have our U14 girls team. So this will be our 2011 girls. So again, similar programming, but in addition to the camp and the showcase, we're also going to be offering the Midwest Rush Cup. So this is the opportunity to be scouted for the regional rush team, okay, the tournament that we're hosting, and then also the North Carolina FC Raleigh Showcase on the second weekend in November. U13 boys, we're going to be trying the Germantown Invitational in Memphis this year. So this is going to be a new event that we haven't done previously. But second weekend in November, supposed to be a really good event, fun city in Memphis, and then good top quality fields, hopefully a little bit warmer than St. Louis. But we'll be doing that with our U13 boys. Our U14 boys, Midwest Rush Cup is added into the programming as well as Memphis. Again, Midwest Rush Cup is offered for the first time at U14 age groups, so that's why U11s, U12s, and U13s, this is not being offered. Finally, move on to our high school girls. We'll be doing our residential camp, the Chicago Inter Showcase, and for our high school girls, this is an excellent event. There are a ton of college coaches that attend this event. It's held at a weekend that doesn't have a lot of conflicts. We researched pretty much all the tournaments in the area, and this is one that is really, really well hosted and will give us a lot of opportunities to be seen by college coaches. So looking forward to having that be part of our programming and for our players to have that opportunity. And then also doing the North Carolina Girls Showcase the first weekend in December, or second weekend in December. Finally, moving on to our high school boys, we're going to be doing a training camp in Schaumburg. So kicking off the event with 3-day worth of training and college recruitment. We're going to go to Lou Fu's College Showcase in December. This year, we're going to switch it up and we're going to go to the Players College Showcase in Vegas. So beginning of March, still really well attended by college coaches. We did some research and try to find our events that are really well attended by college coaches and have a variety of coaches from the Midwest. And this one is one of those. So we are going to be heading back to the Players College Showcase in Las Vegas. Finally, some of our additional programming. So we did a test run this past year with NPL. So our 2010 boys, 2011 girls, 2011 boys have done NPL and have done really well. I think it's been a positive experience for them to play on a weekly basis. So we are going to be looking into having more teams do NPL moving forward. Hopefully there's the participation and the interest in it. But these are weekly games typically held in at Olympic Park on weekdays. So NPL, look for that to be offered to your team for an additional fee in either the fall or the spring. We did try a winter league this winter, the Futsal League out of Schaumburg, and basically, I don't think we're going to be moving forward with this league in the future. We felt that it just wasn't as beneficial. One of the biggest things we look for are competitive games and making sure that they are good bang for their buck. And unfortunately, the first division, which many of our teams went into, was too high of a kind of competition level, and the second division was too low. So moving forward, we'll be looking to maybe offer a winter league for at a different kind of facility. Maybe we go to the Bridgeview Dome, where they offer 11v11 leagues, or potentially the Barrington indoor facility. But this is something that we're going to look into more and try to gauge if it's worth it. State Cup and President's Cup, this is separate and for additional fee. This is, I'm sure many of you are familiar with this, and our teams participate in State Cup or President's Cup with our select teams. We keep this separate because at some age groups, we have a really strong team that wants to stay together and compete in State Cup or President's Cup on their own. We take this on an age by age group basis and talk to our directors to make sure that entering the team as a select team is worthwhile and is the best situation. Finally, we also do one-day college showcases. These are for our high school age players, particularly our juniors and seniors. So Chicago Fire offers one in the city, Galaxy offers one in Naperville area, and 1974 offers one in Libertyville. This is something that we're looking into doing a little bit more as well. There might be an opportunity to go to Michigan for the Michigan Jaguar Showcase. So these are great opportunities because There's typically only 1 or 2 fields at these, and then there's numerous college coaches. So it gives, again, our players the opportunity and gets all eyes on them for a tournament. Okay, so Michael, help me out. What did I miss, and what do we need to address before we open it up for questions?
No, great stuff, Tim. I know it's a lot of information for people. We'll get this uploaded to YouTube and then probably blasted out to a membership. Again, I think the biggest thing is just reiterating. We're talking 2,000 players across 8 different communities. You know, we want to try and compete the best we can at these events. Trying to throw training schedules into that has just been so difficult. This has been our 6th year of doing this. You know, when our coaches can, they will do that. Typically our coaches who are assigned are experienced coaches, you know, have a connection with each community, so it's not biased from one club versus another. And each year it seems to be, you know, getting bigger and better, but at the same time, there's always that higher expectation of why aren't we doing more? But as you can see now with Super Y, with our select, regional select, national select, regular training, I think just in youth sports in general, there never seems to be a downtime. So we offer this just purely as a supplemental opportunity for our better players. And yes, it gets better year after year. So hopefully we can continue that. But nothing specific, Tim. I know there's a few questions on the chat there that we can maybe address, and I've tried to reach out to some individuals as well who directed the message to either one of us.
Perfect. So I'll go through some of the chat questions now. If you have an additional question, please feel free to type it into the chat box. That'll be the easiest way for us to answer those. Okay, so first one. Can the players going to Finland, current U12 players, and are gone for 2 of the events, still potentially do select? Absolutely. So if we have a conflict there and you're going to miss 2 of the events, we'll prorate that because that's a really cool opportunity that we offer within Rush, and we don't want you to miss. So yep, no problem there. Tryouts. So for our U11, U12, and U13 age groups, so that would be the 2014 boys and girls, the 2013 boys and girls, and 2012 boys and girls, we are looking to host a tryout in late May, potentially early June, but hopefully mid to late May. I'm working on getting a field for 3 hours on a weekday where it doesn't conflict with all of our league games. Obviously, as Michael mentioned, we always have conflicts, and we want to try our best to avoid those. So if we can have it maybe on a weekday evening in a central location like Schaumburg or Elmhurst, that's what we're aiming to do. So hopefully I'm going to get that information finalized by the end of this week, and then it will go out to our membership. For older teams, so that's U11, U12s, and U13s that I mentioned, we're going to do an ID event for our older teams, which are U14 and older. That's 2011 and older. The best way that we are going to have tryouts is by training with the select team. So again, we'll take nominations from our directors for players that we think are potentially at the level for our select team, and invite those out to our select training session. What ages of high school girls will have select teams? Too difficult to answer before we go to tryouts.
Yeah, do you want me just to dive in there, Tim, because I'm actually answering that question now?
Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, look, the unpredictability of youth soccer tryouts now, it's impossible for us to say if we're getting a surge of new players at 2010s, 9s, 8s, 7s, and 6s. What I can say historically is, as we go in north and west, adopt and bring in new players at the sophomore, junior and senior age group. For whatever reason, we've had a surge of new quality players between all those clubs, even Fox Valley, whether players have decided that they've just had enough of that club and they come over. So that's always helped us in years gone by. Our 2005, 6, and even 7 group had an influx the last 2 or 3 years of doing it. If we feel that there isn't enough quality in age group at the high school level, we'll probably look to combine. We can have a 2010 9 group, 2008 7, you know, a 2006 7, a 2009 10, a 2008 9. We, as you know, most of these girls or boys are playing at a high school level in any way. Some of them are freshmen playing varsity. So as Tim said straight away, we don't know. But what we'll do is we'll be super upfront and honest. And again, I know most of these, I've coached the high school girls for the last 3 or 4 years. I know most of these girls, but then I also don't know the predictability of who is coming into the club that's new. I can say that between all of our clubs, and this is not just a sales pitch, we're like way beyond where we were last year with tryout numbers. It's just been a huge surge and kind of exciting. So that, as you know, our tryouts for club is in the next 3-4 weeks. I would say by that first or second week in May at the latest, we'll know straight away. Like, it's funny when we're on different locations across our 7 clubs, Tim and I will get texts of different directors at different locations saying, there's a stud 2010 girl just come, there's a stud 2007 girl. And that gives Tim and I now a chance to try and get out to that location the next night or the 2 nights later to go and see that player to see if they're good enough for select. So that's, I know it's kind of a wishy-washy answer, but it's just the reality of youth sports and tryouts now.
Great. So a good question. When do we announce the players for U11 Select? I'm going to answer that as a whole. When do we announce the players for Select? So that is going to be occurring at the beginning of June. Okay, so beginning of May to mid-May is when our local tryouts are. We're going to solidify those teams hopefully by mid-May. We're then going to have our ID event that we mentioned for the U11, U12 age groups. We'll be working on the back end with all of our select coaches, our directors, and our local coaches to make sure that we have all the players identified who are going to be great for the program. And then in the beginning of June is when the tryouts will be, when the teams will be announced and offers will go out. In order to get an offer, everybody has to pre-register for the Select program. So you can do this by going to chicagorushsoccer.com and logging into your account. So you can use the same credentials that you have with your Oswego team or your North team, whoever it might be. Or if you are new to the club, then you'll create a new account. And then you're going to click select 24-25, and that should do the trick. That's all you'll really need to do. And then that registers you. And then when we go to send the offers out in the beginning of June, you'll receive that offer. Let's see, next question. My son will be doing.
I just got that one.
Did you respond to that, Michael?
I did already. I've been direct messaging. Evelina needs one regarding the regional one. There's a question on the regional select teams.
They would need to be recruited again. So every year, it's a new selection process for regional and national select. So the first step to getting on the team is obviously with the recommendation or being identified at one of the regional events. And then performance at the event is oftentimes like the biggest determining factor if a player gets invited again. For our 2010 group, I believe 2010 group, we might be doing the Midwest Rush Cup showcase in Elgin. So that's another opportunity to get identified there.
Tim, 2010 boys are gonna be high school.
Okay, so potentially not then, but we will
No,
look into that.
I think what will happen is, Evelina, we'll do the same process. We nominate those players. If regional select coach is the same coach, then he'll know that player. So then they'll determine that. But we as always advocate for our players, especially they're on it the previous year. You know, hopefully the coach of that group did well and enjoyed them. But we'll just do as much as we can to put that player forward. Typically, once it gets to high school, on the boys' side, because the regional events in August, that's obviously past the IHSA deadline to train. It just comes down to our nominations, which will push forward again.
2015 players could potentially be offered a spot on the 2014 team if they are truly exceptional and are making a really competitive case to be on the team. So I believe this past year we had one, maybe two 2014 players on the 2013 team. So case by case basis. But if a player is doing well and excelling enough, then we are open to that.
You want me just to take one of these questions, Tim?
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, what a question. When's the one-day showcase for Fire Galaxy 74? The Fire one's typically that second week in December. It's down at the Fire pitch. I think it was like around December 8th, 9th, 10th or something, right, Tim, last year? The Galaxy one is on Martin Luther King, and 74's, remember when that
Early
was?
March.
Early March. And I think that actually do it outside on their turf fields. It's really, they're really good. It's again part of our showcase high school program in that smaller setting, the 7v7s for the Fire and the Galaxy one. I mean, there's like 25, 30 kids, college coaches watching Galaxy and Fire and 74 are all quality clubs. And we do well. We compete. And it's a real good one-day event.
Putting on my really quick, Michael. So putting on my college coach hat, and then also like advice for players that are looking to get scouted. One of the great things about these events is they're kind of like a friendly event. They're not like a competitive event. So coaches and players can interact and talk at the event, and can connect kind of while they're there. A lot of times that's a great way to make an impression on the college coach, and you can have these conversations and get to know players and you can get to know the college coach. So great opportunity and an excellent kind of way to stand out aside from the normal college showcases or tournaments.
Thanks, Tim. A couple of questions, a couple of parents asking about when's this registration open? One of the prerequisites to join Select is you have to commit to your local club first. So as soon as our tryouts are done, the registration for Select will open up. Families go in and register. And then between the 14s, 13s, 12s, the ID event. Obviously, everyone's welcome to come out. Typically, again, just to be completely candid, the nominations from your directors and local coaches will invite some of the stronger players out. Typically, if you're on that premier team at that local club, it's typically those players. If you're on the second or third team, while it's an open tryout, it's more than likely not going to be the right level for you to come and play at the Select level, given the level of the other players across the club. But that'll be right after tryouts, right, Tim?
Correct. Yeah, so late May, early June.
Question about the 2009 boys group there. Do you see that one? Maybe
Yeah, so based off of this spring's performance. So at the end of tryouts and when people all commit to be part of the club for next year, then I touch base with our directors and coaches and we do nominations then. Registration for Select 24-25 live in the beginning of June. Yes, premier team players are typically the only ones that are eligible to be on the select team. Just for reference sake, there's typically like 3 or 4 or 5 players from a premier team that get selected to be on the select team. So yeah, select premier players only for select.
But Julie, a great question. He may be on a second team now, but he may be on the top level of that second team. Post tryouts, he may get moved up to a premier team, right? And that local coach will let the director of that club know that this kid's developing and improving, especially the younger age groups. Kids develop rapidly. Obviously going into the 24-25 season, if that player's been posted at a second team level, likelihood is he's not going to make a select team. The program's really to try and push our top level players. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, pre-registration hasn't been quite set up yet. Tracy will be doing that in the coming weeks, but wanted to at least give you a background on how to do it. Also, if you have been part of the select program or the Super Y program before, you do not have to pre-register. You've already done that. I should have mentioned that. So again, if you are already part of the select program or already part of Super Y, you don't have to pre-register. You've already done that. Currently, we do not have any age groups where we have 2 select teams. If we have enough quality players at an age group, that's something that we would be open to. And in an ideal world, we would then break it down into a select North group and then a select South group to make the training a little bit easier. We have not done that in the past. It's something that we hope to do because we have enough talent at the age group. But if it's possible, we'll do it.
A few questions. This is probably more at the 14s at Wilmot Wings about the uniforms coming into select. I'll clarify, but my understanding is that the Wings and Tom Gazinski had some loaner uniforms, particularly for the Super Y players. I think if you go to make the Super Y, the select team for 24-25, typically we ask those families to buy just the basic package. But again, it's probably worth clarifying with your club, with the Wings, that he compensated, knowing that the 14s would be able to get some loaners. But again, that's maybe a question for Tom Gazinski, who's the club director over there.
Beth, I'll connect with you on Campton Showcase that I recommend for the summer for high school age players. All right. I think we are kind of wrapping up here. If you have any additional questions, please feel free. Otherwise, we're looking forward to growing the program, continuing to provide an excellent experience. I think one of the things that we always try to do is make select feel different than your regular programming. So we videotape games. We try to do some video analysis. We try to get 2 coaches on the bench for each game so that we have different eyes seeing the game. We make sure that our top coaches are involved in the program, and we really want to make it a special experience for the players. So we hope to continue to do that next year. And yeah, so feel free to reach out to me. My email is all over the website, but I'll put it in the chat box if you have any questions. Looking forward to hopefully coaching some of your players in the coming year.
And then just one quick last thing as well. The way that we answer these questions is sometimes forecasting what our tryouts look like. So hopefully we had 185 families on this call at one point. If you haven't, please go onto your local Rush site and register for your local tryout, not the select tryout, but the local tryout. This helps myself, Tim, our full-time staff and our directors start forecasting and planning on what our teams look like. So when you ask, hey, is there going to be a team? Do we have multiple teams in an age group? We can see multiple players signed up for tryouts. Those that don't sign up for tryouts, it typically raises a red flag. which you'll then get a call from the director, which sometimes gets escalated to Tim and I, and be like, hey, why have you not signed up for triads? Do you have questions, problems, anything I can help with? So please do so. Again, there's no fee. For most of the clubs that's attached. I think maybe North Shore does or Wings does, but there's no fee to register. And that way we can start planning and getting ready. I think 3 weeks away now before our tryouts for regular club season starts. Cool.
Appreciate everybody's time. Thank you for jumping on. Have a great night, everybody.
Thanks, Tim. Awesome job. Thanks, everyone.
I'll stay on for another minute if anybody has individual questions.
You want to stop recording?
Yep.